Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another live stream. It has been so long, and I'm so excited to finally be live again. I am in a new environment, and actually, I cannot believe my lighting. I got a new lamp actually for Christmas, and then I have the one that I always have. But I'm so excited to be back for another live stream. And today I want to give you a live update, and I want to talk about burnout, health, a couple of other things. You can ask me any questions that you like in the chat or in the comment section if you're watching this replay. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, you can do that. Also, I'm really excited for all the new people who have subscribed to my channel. Welcome. And today, let's just start. I've prepared a couple of things, and but this is also going to be kind of like a relaxed chit chat. I've got some tea with some lipstick and my water with some cucumber and lemon. And yes, why are we talking about burnout? It is very interesting. I was about to say funny. It is funny in a way, but not that funny. But if you watched my last live stream where I said to you all that I'm going to go and take some time off from YouTube just to give myself a little bit of a break. But this was really only actually taking time off from YouTube and social media and not so much from my actual job. So it's kind of interesting that not that long after that, I had to take time off from everything, basically, because first I started to feel a little bit burnt out, and that's when I told everyone that I won't do live streams. But then whenever you are running yourself down because you're working too much, or there's other things in your life that are just too much, that also takes effect on your immune system. And so I think I was very vulnerable, and so I caught something and felt ill. And so I want to first start with the Google or Wikipedia, not translation, what is it called? Like whatever they state what burnout is. So it says here, burnout can leave people feeling exhausted, empty, and unable to cope with the demands of life. So I wasn't at that stage, because I think if you can't cope with the demands of life, you're really downhill at that point. It says also burnout may be accompanied by a variety of mental and physical health problems. If left unaddressed, burnout can make it difficult for an individual to function well in daily life. I just put my phone on airplane mode, but I wanted to read a little bit about the science, because I've looked up on a website about some science when it comes to burnout, and they say that individuals experiencing burnout view their jobs as increasingly stressful. So basically, like when stress becomes, I would say, I mean, we are all kind of used to a little bit of stress, but when it becomes more than just that normal amount of stress, I would say. It says here physical symptoms can be headaches and stomach aches. I'm going to talk a little bit later about the mind and stomach connection, because I actually didn't know about this at all. And it's so important, and I think it's partly also why I'm feeling so much better now. So I'm going to share with you later on in this live stream what I did to make myself feel better, and maybe that could help you as well. Then another sign says reduced performance. Burnout mainly affects everyday tasks at work, etc. It's kind of a little bit where it started for me. I'm going to put my phone down now. The signs for me were that I just started to feel really tired, even if I had a full night of sleep. Like I had a really good night's sleep. I woke up, I was still tired, and that's not really normal. And the other thing, I don't know if you remember this from the last live stream, and in hindsight, I was thinking to myself, how could I not have caught this earlier? Because I was saying in the last live stream that I was struggling with processing, even just watching Netflix, just processing all of those pictures and information, and that it would be better just to watch nothing and just relax. And even though, even if you don't feel like you're going into burnout, that's definitely a very good idea, just to take some time away from social media, etc. But looking back, if you are too tired or too exhausted to even watch Netflix, then that should be a sign. Also, I wanted to say, because I did, in those weeks leading up to this, I was mentioning to my boyfriend and to one of my friends how exhausted I felt. And there was even one time when I'm a bit embarrassed to say it, but I'll just say it. There was one time I just cried. And I think if you have a friend who comes to you with this, you should definitely take this seriously and tell them that, depending on where they are in those stages, that either take things off the plate, or if possible, just take time off work completely. Now, in my case, I thought this was not possible. The truth is, things are always possible. If something has to happen, then it can happen. And when I did have to take time off work, there was somebody who could cover for me. But in my mind, I was saying to myself, it's December, it's going to be Christmas, there isn't anybody who can cover for me. I want to stick to my schedule. I don't want to admit that I need time off. And I think this is a really, really big thing that we just don't want to admit. I basically didn't want to admit that I made a mistake in my planning, that when I looked at my schedule or my plan, that I looked at it very analytically, in the way that I had heard on the news there's going to be more and more of lockdown. We're just going to be able to stay in, and I'd rather stay in it and work than take my holiday when we're in lockdown. I just didn't see the point of it. But because I made this decision from my analytic mindset, I was like, well, I didn't think about my emotional well-being and my physical well-being. I just thought I could just see it through, not a problem. I just thought, yeah, definitely I can do it. But it wasn't a good idea. This is actually something, maybe I'll mention it now, because I wanted to talk a little bit about if that happened to you and you had to take time off, or even if you're not going into a complete burnout, but you just feel like, okay, I think I need to take time off. What can you do to not bring yourself back into the same situation? What can you do to learn from this, make better choices for yourself next time? Before I get to that, I want to say, though, that I find, and I would be really interested in your opinion, if, like I said, if you want to write into the chat or into the comments. Hi, Kira, I just saw that you said hi. I don't know when you messaged there. I just wanted to say that it seems to be quite normal for people to just work, and not really have the best of work-life balance. And when you look at our world today, how fast-paced it is, when you look at how we treat the environment, the animals. If you watched David Attenborough's newest movie, you definitely know what I'm talking about. And I think the way that we treat our planet, that is also kind of how we're sometimes treating ourselves, which is not very well. And this is also why I think it's very often not picked up by other people, because they're doing exactly the same thing. So when it comes to this, you should definitely not swim with the crowd and against the crowd, because we are, with our whole behavior, with the planet and with ourselves, we're not on a good path. We need to come back to a good path. And this is also another reason why I'm creating these videos, because I want to put a positive message out there for you. So that, I just want to throw that in before I tell you a little bit about what I've come up with to learn from my mistakes. So on return to work, I made a plan of how much time do I want to work, how much time do I want to take breaks, how much time do I want to take off, like when do I go into my next holiday, how many weeks to work, how many weeks to take off, all of these things. This obviously depends on your job. Only you can know really, really well what is right for you. What I found that really helped me is talking to one of my colleagues. She had some really good ideas on how to keep the work-life balance, and she told me a lot about what helped her. And yeah, so then I just thought to myself, what will be good for me after I had a chat to her. So that's the first thing. Have that plan and be very specific with it, and be very straightforward about that when it comes to your employer. Because if you have a good employer, they would only want the best for you. They wouldn't want you to burn out, because then you wouldn't even be able to come back. And if you don't have an employer that cares about you in that sort of way, then maybe you should think about another job somewhere where, yeah, you're valued and people care about you. And definitely, if possible, don't work in an environment where people work you so tough that you burn out and don't care about you. That definitely wasn't the case for me. It was mainly I just didn't plan well, because I've never been in the situation that we're in right now, basically. The other thing that I wrote down as priorities, just being sure like where you put your energy, because once you've run down your energy so low, you're actually realizing that everything you do in life takes up some energy. I really only realized that when my energy was down, because I'm usually a quite high energy person. But when you think about it, anything you do, like I'm doing this live stream right now, and I'm really happy that I'm doing this, but that takes energy. If I talk to a friend, that takes energy. If I go out for a walk, that takes energy. Even going shopping takes energy. Even if at a state where we are full of energy, we may not notice it so much, what takes how much energy. But if you can just be aware that everything that you do, except I guess for sleeping, is taking energy, then think about where you want to put that energy and think about your priorities. Then I'm not going to spend too much time on this one, because I already mentioned it in a couple of live streams, I think. Yeah, when it comes to social media, be very aware how much attention you want to put into social media. Now, I already made a plan on how much to work, how much off time, and all of that. I actually haven't made a plan on social media, but I will do. I am not spending that much time on it. I think that's why I haven't really made a plan. It's not really an issue right now. But if you find that you're scrolling through your Instagram the whole time, or you're just spending too much time text messaging, because also that can be taking away from your energy. Now I'm coming to the things that help me the most. So what helped me the most to regain energy is actually meditation and visualization. And I don't really mean the type of meditation where you stare at a candle, or where you stare at something, whatever, like you focus one point and then you watch your thoughts. I mean the type of energy that is all about meditation, the type of meditation that is all about your energy. Now, I'm not really promoting for you to do the meditation that I'm doing, but I'm always doing the Dr. Joe meditations. So in those meditations, we always focus on raising our energy. So the reason I said meditation or visualization is because you can do either or. As long as you visualize the energy coming back to you. If you just sit down for 10 minutes or 20 minutes, or even longer than that, like I usually do 45 minutes, and you keep telling yourself, I'm raising my energy, or other things, you can have a guided meditation, then that is bringing energy back to you. If you have a meditation group and you tell them that you've been struggling with your energy, they could even send energy to you. My meditation group did that for me last week, and that was really amazing. And then also, this is something, I'm not sure if I've mentioned this in any of my videos or in any of my live streams, but I suddenly had this idea because I read the book, The Emotion Code, last year. And if you don't know about this book or about this technique, it's a technique where you release emotions from your body that are like stored in your body, but they're not serving you anymore. They are basically stuck, and they are. So I had this idea that maybe that could help. So I booked a session, and it did. It was really, really amazing. So obviously, if you're going through something like this, also potentially contact your doctor. These are just all suggestions from me to you, things that you could do, things that you can also do to prevent. Because as I wasn't doing so well, I had some pretty major realizations about my eating habits and my lifestyle. I was drinking way too much coffee. I mentioned in the previous live stream that I stopped drinking coffee, and I actually, I'm still sticking to that. I'm not drinking coffee. I have like the very, very odd cup, but very, very rarely. So I was drinking too much coffee. I was eating too much sugar, way too much sugar, and I actually didn't realize this nearly up to the end of the year. It wasn't until after Christmas that it completely dawned on me. I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I'm eating way too much sugar. And this is when the next thing that I want to read to you, that I Googled for you, is that one thing that I didn't know about, it usually goes overnight and then tomorrow morning it's there. I'm going to put 2 links into the box below, and that will be our gut has so much to do with our well-being. And I Googled how eating too much sugar is influencing this. So I'm just going to read this to you. It says, a diet in high processed foods and added sugars can increase the amount of high amounts of refined sugars, particularly blah, 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 have been linked to increased inflammation in the body. Studium. So basically, when I read that, I was like, oh my gosh, all this time, because last winter, I got ill various times, and I was always asking myself, why am I getting sick so much? And it just never dawned on me, and nobody ever said anything to me. I'm not saying they should have, they maybe also didn't know, but up until this point, I had no idea that because when I'm saying I had a lot of sugar, I didn't eat too well, I also had a lot of salad, a lot of vegetables and fruit, but I think that the amount of processed foods and sugar was just so much that ends with your microbiomes in your gut. But basically, I had no idea that all of this is influencing my well-being, my immune system, and that there could be a connection. So long story short, when I realized that this could be a problem, I completely changed my diet. I am not drinking coffee. My boyfriend was joking, and he was saying to me, you were having your chocolates like your 5 a day. And I think I was lying to myself about it, because I because I also ate a lot of salad, I kept saying to myself, oh no, I'm just doing fine. This type 2, and he got that later in life, and he got that because he ate too much sugar. And I think that's where I have got my sweet tooth from, but not to blame him, but I'm just telling you this. So there were a couple of times in my life where I was wondering, well, now that I went through in December is basically for me like a wake-up call. And in a way, I'm also grateful for this wake-up call, because I really, up until this day, when I sat down and I was asking myself all these questions, and then I started to Google things, and I think I really needed this kick from the universe that really showed me that I need to change something. And I even remember when I had my coffees, or when I had another chocolate biscuit or another chocolate bar, with my health, I would just keep going the way that I am, because yeah, like I said, I didn't have any issues. I was highly functioning myself through this topic. I came across this doctor, I forgot his name, but there were like several videos. I'd seen him before on like the Lewis Health podcast. And he was saying that a lot of people who are on basically the same track of eating that I was on will, or lifestyle, like being stressed, eating, not eating too much, working too much, will eventually hit a health crisis. And in my case, I can be actually super grateful that it wasn't any worse than it was, because if you live a life where you eat a lot of processed foods and a lot of sugars, and then you are like at a high stress level, what it means is that your potential to one day have a stroke or have a heart attack is much, much higher. And we hear these things, and then we think to ourselves, oh, I'm young, that doesn't affect me. Or like, I think too many times we think that these messages are not about us. Or when we hear this is a good food or this is a bad food, that is way, and they make you really realize what you're doing to your body if you do eat this way. And yeah, I think that's just what I wanted to say about that. Let me have a quick look if I've said everything from my notes. Okay. There was one more thing I wanted to say in terms. So I've told you now all about what I think about, what I've learned about food. Oh, the other thing, really, really big realization for me was, as I was feeling really unwell, I was thinking to myself, I'm really the only person to blame here. And why am I risking my health that way? Like, I never thought about this food. When you say you treat yourself to something that is actually good for your body. Because myself, like, I haven't had all these things. So then when I had a coffee one day, the coffee suddenly doesn't taste so good anymore. And why is that? Because I'm not addicted to it anymore. Or when I have a tiny piece of chocolate now, actually I really haven't had one in a long time, but we have cravings for, were created, I think, so that we buy more and more and more of that. And it's actually really sad to see that children are already eating these foods that are really addictive and that are not good for our microbiome. The pandemic, we hear these fear-fueling news every single day, but how often looking after our bodies and our minds with nutritious foods and keeping positive, because the more in a state of fear. And I hope this is really helping you today, and you can take something away from that. And if you have any code session, I learned a little bit about protecting my energy. And the practitioner said to me that before I go into work, I need to protect my energy, and to do that, to envision that for 3 minutes. And then when I leave work or when I often, because energy, everything is energy, but unless it comes into form, like this table or this mug or whatever, we don't see it. Like a lot of the energy that we create in our space, we don't see that. We may feel that, other people may feel that, but we don't see it. So therefore, it's super important that we don't get mixed up with other people's energies. And what I mean by that is, especially now, a lot of people are in fear. And if you are not protecting your energy, you can easily get mixed up with those other energies that are completely in fear. And whenever we're in fear, we cannot create what we want to create in our life. And here in the UK, everybody, thank you so much for joining. My intention was that you took something away from this live stream today, and I hope you did. I'm sending you so much love. If you're feeling lonely or sad, please go out. I'm going live earlier tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk about my 20 successes from 2020. I think it's not too late because we're still early January. And I'm going to go live at 5 p.m. UK time, which is 6 p.m. German time, other European time. Bye.